Oh my god. What are Rick and Ryan up to now? It's time for the Slightly Warped Podcast.
Hey, hello, and how are you? Welcome to another episode of the Slightly Warped Podcast. I'm Slightly Warped. He's Slightly Warped. I'm Rick. That's Big Show. Big Show, how you doing, man?
I'm all right. Missed you the last couple weeks, but we're
Yeah, we
back to the grind.
had a hiatus of sorts, we'll call it, but we are back and hopefully more warped than ever. Yeah, man, this week, I mean, it's hard to believe, for everybody that watches this on Thursdays, we actually record on Tuesdays. So you hear me complaining about how long the week is. Keep in mind, it's Tuesday, and I'm complaining about that. But,
It's been a
busy
rough
trying to get
couple
some
weeks.
stuff done. It has, really. It has. But that's okay because we are going to come through. By the grace of God, we are going to come through.
Now, real quickly, this is kind of off the dome here, and I know I didn't mention it to you, but I don't know if he's going to be watching, but uh, there was my nephew, Tony Baird, has been locked up for the last 2.5 years, accused of something he didn't do. And the trial was the last 2 weeks. And last Friday, they found him not guilty on all charges. He's been away from his family for 2.5 years.
Mm-hmm.
So, we're rejoicing in our family. So just want to give a little shout out to him. Welcome back to the neighborhood. And um, he said he was going to watch if he can, but I want to just give a short shout out to him.
Yeah, excellent. You know what? Maybe you can enlighten me on this. Because of that time he lost, what are they going to do for him? Because there's got to
Absolutely
be an
nothing.
adjustment period and all that. Are you
Nothing.
serious?
Yeah. Um, so I
So they
just,
can just take away somebody's life and then say, "Oh no, you're good," and then that's it.
yeah, I mean, pretty much just because, I don't want to get into all of that portion of it because I don't
Yeah.
know, but just kind of give a kind of just a brief rundown. Basically, a few years ago, he was coming out of a gas station and a group of people started shooting at him. He dropped down, returned fire, protecting himself, and an innocent bystander was killed across the street. Lost her life that day. He was the only one that was arrested, even though there's video of all the people that were involved in it. He was the only one that got charged.
Mm.
Um, I know you can't tell. I've said this before. I am a light-skinned brother from another mother. So this is another black man getting, incarcerated, uh, and accused of a crime that they didn't really have a whole lot of uh, evidence against him. But by the grace of God, he was blessed with a fantastic lawyer who did his job. And yeah, my nephew's free, and it's a beautiful day in our family, a beautiful week. So it's been dragging out the last couple of years, but this past week was rough. But then Friday, clouds opened up, sunshine through, and he's back home with his kids. So we're all happy.
Well, first and foremost, you're right. Thank God that he's back with his family. And unfortunately, you can't get that time back no matter what, but at least he has time going forward. And that's the most important thing right now.
Yes, most definitely.
Like I said, there's going to be a readjustment period, get reacclimated to things. And you said 2 years?
2.5.
2.5. You can lose a lot in 2.5 years. Man, I take 2.5 days off of work. I come back and I done lost my mind because I'm like, wait, what did I do?
I mean,
how do you do that?
COVID had just hit when he went in. Think about
Wow,
how
that
far
is
we've
true.
been think how far we've been as a country from that time frame to now. So yeah, I mean he's lost a lot. But he's back home now, and hopefully, things are going in the right direction.
Party time. So, speaking of party time, bro, our first topic, let me pull this up because this dude is partying like crazy.
Yeah.
Now,
he's retarded.
Guys, we've been off for a couple weeks, so if some of these are like old news to y'all, that's too bad. Relive them with us because, we're having fun with this. Says here, and this is the name of the article, trophy husband, dad with 3 wives, says he has no need to work. My guy, this is my idol right here. Hey, not because he's got 3 wives, that's a plus. Not because he's a dad, I got children, but because he has no need to work. I want to know the secret. I mean, I think I do know the secret. Anyway, it says trophy dad with 3 wives. He says being married is a lot to handle, and I'm not gonna go through the whole article, but basically, his logic is if they're all working, he can take care of the house. Look at that, Mr. Mom. I like that. And I don't know how he pulls it off, but they're able to share him without any consequences too. Bro,
Look,
I see your face. I see the wheels turning.
Look, I've been married to 27 years to my soulmate and life mate, Susan. I'm barely getting by with just one woman, one wife. There is absolutely no way would I have 3. It sounds nice on paper, but in real life, I don't think so.
And that's the thing, because you gotta believe that there's got to be some conflicts and some problems, but
I think that there probably is, and no disrespect, it works for them. That's awesome, but I think they are 4 weak-minded individuals to allow that to happen between all 4 of them. The women must not have enough self-esteem for themselves to think that they have to share the same guy. And then the guy is just selfish and controlling, in my personal opinion.
Now, keep in mind, where did this come from? Is this Utah? Is he Mormon?
I think they're actually on a TV show on it's called Sister Wives.
Sister Wives, yeah.
Yeah, it's a reality TV show.
Okay, that puts a little bit more perspective into it, because I believe that a lot of it is for show.
Still,
like how I did that. I mean, it's for show.
Yeah. It ain't for this show. Not this show. Not this guy. Just FYI. No, Susie. Susie, I love you.
Now, we ain't trying to start World War III up in here. This is Slightly Warped, the podcast. That's all. So no.
Next week you might see prison bars behind me.
We're in the county yellows, or what do they wear? Orange.
Doing the show from the commissary.
You're right. There's 4. I would actually say 3 weak-minded. If he's able to pull it off, he's got to be the mastermind, of course. They should not be accepting of it.
But what I mean, he's also got to be included in that weak-minded, because why do you need 3 women?
He probably doesn't. He's probably lazy. Because remember, the article says he feels he doesn't need to work.
Laziness is weak.
True that.
And what is he trying to compensate for having? I mean, okay, let's peel all the onion stuff back. Yes, any man's
fantasy,
dream fantasy would be in his position for a week or 2. You know what I mean? I don't think we'd want it for a lifetime, or you know what I mean?
Right.
I
And that's
don't.
what I want to close it out with, because, yeah, we all think about it. What man hasn't? But at the end of the day, if you think about all the work that it takes in a marriage, all the things you have to do, you multiply that by 3. And are you really, really going to go down that road?
And here's the other moral question I'll throw at you. How many children you got, my man?
I got 2
You got 2. Boys, girls, both boys?
both boys.
Boys. Okay. Do you want your boys treating women like that?
No,
If you had daughters, would you want them to be treated like that?
absolutely not.
That's why I say he's weak.
Fair enough. I can't argue with that. Hey, all y'all out there, let us know how you feel about that. We have a new email address if you have questions or comments. You can get us at theslightlywarpedpodcast@yahoo.com. Let us know what you think. So, from the ridiculous to the sublime, Dilbert cartoon dropped after racist rant by creator Scott Adams. How familiar are you with this article here, Show?
I'm familiar.
Okay, so it says here that Scott Adams called Black Americans a hate group and suggested white Americans get the hell away from Black people. Bro, there's multiple things wrong with that phrase.
Now, why did he say that?
Along calls for conservative.
I don't. You don't have to read. I can tell you.
Okay, go ahead.
He had a poll that says, "Is it okay?" What something to that? Is it okay to be proud to be white or some crap like that in America nowadays, or some crap like that? And he got a lot of negative feedback from the Black community, and that's what he said. What he said. Now, I know. You know what? I'm proud to be white. I'm proud to be Black. I'm proud to be red. I mean, whatever you want to call me, I'm proud to be. So I don't need nobody's permission to be proud. But he just used that, I think, to let his inner bigot out in public. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
His springboard to let it out.
Yeah, and we usually have an idiot of the week. This dude's clearly the idiot of the month. So
yeah, he's definitely So far, he's idiot of the year.
Yeah, so far. It seems like every time we as an American society take a step forward, we get knocked 2 steps back. You would think that this crap would be gone, but apparently it isn't. I see out here more interracial relationships. I see more friends and family coming from different areas, but there's always the bigot that pops up on the news. And that just lets us know we haven't accomplished anything yet.
And it's not going to change. It's not going to change. I mean, throughout history, biblically, people were bigots for whatever reason. I just don't think it's going to change. And we just have to call the ones out when they are being that way. And, I'll try to live in peace. But when you can't have peace, make war.
Apparently that is true. And that brings me to my third topic, bro. And I'm a big James Bond fan, like the movies. I've got all the books. This made me laugh and it made me scratch my head, and I want to pose a question to you. The James Bond books are being rewritten and re-released, and they're going to remove offensive references. I understand why they're doing it, but my question to you is, are we supposed to erase history and pretend it didn't happen?
I think the younger generation wants you to. But if you don't learn from your history, you're destined to repeat it, some wise man once said.
Yes. And yes, Bond is a good example of misogynistic behavior. The way he treats women, the way he talks to them, the way he talks about them. Like I said, I've got the books, and a lot of people that have just been exposed to the movies are like, well, he's not that bad. Read the books. Read the
Oh, yeah.
books.
But they were also they were
That's where I
also
was
written
going.
in a time when it was accepted. You know, not saying it's right or wrong now. I mean, it's an
And
opinion about
in
whether it's right or wrong.
no way, shape, or form am I saying it's right. But
I know, but it's
that's
still,
what it was back
but
then.
it's a fictional character.
Exactly. And we
He's not
can't
real.
pretend, but we can't pretend that people didn't think like this back then.
Of
Because
course they did.
obviously he wrote
Otherwise,
like
the
that.
author wouldn't have wrote it. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And you know, we're in a society now where we're taking statues down. We're removing this flag, that flag. Oh my God, that flower is the state flower of racism. Get rid of it. We can't put our head in the sand and pretend that it's not there.
There are too many thin-skinned young Americans walking this planet right now. They get offended if the wind blows in the wrong direction.
Yeah, and they either try to hide from it, hide you from it, or sue somebody about it.
So, you know, it's like with the Holocaust.
Mhm.
The Jewish community did not tear down Auschwitz. It's still standing. So they can teach people not to let that happen again. You know, yes, that crap happened. No, I don't agree with it. But it was something that happened and we need to learn from it. Now, fictional wise, like these books, in my opinion, they were a time period piece. You know, let it be for what it was. It's if they wrote a brand new 007 book and had all that same crap in it nowadays, then yes, I would listen to your argument. But stuff written in the 60s and 70s and things like no, it was a different time period. It's like the movie Django. Everybody upset with the N-word that was dropped 5 million times in the movie, but that was the period. You know what I mean?
I agree. I mean, it would be odd if it didn't get dropped.
Exactly.
It would be odd if I see slaves in the movie that aren't getting whipped.
Right.
I mean, can't hide from it.
I mean, that's part of it. You can't, you know. Yeah. That's all I can say.
All right. We're going to get away from this and we're going to go towards a little bit fantasy here. Out of all the monster movies, the werewolf, the mummy, all that, Dracula stands tall among all of them in the horror department. We are going to get a couple of vampire movies towards the end of this year and the beginning of next year. Now, you already know about the one with Nicolas Cage, Renfield, where Nicolas Cage plays Dracula. Have you seen that?
I haven't seen that one.
Bro. Allow me to take a time out from the show because we got time. I am going to show you the trailer for Renfield.
Oh, crap. Live reaction. Woo!
Sorry to interrupt.
Are you okay?
I need to get out of a toxic relationship.
Why don't you start by telling us what brought you here?
My boss, he's different.
You can't get him out of your head.
No.
I need your assistance.
I'm coming, Master!
Oh, you feel like he could destroy you with the snap of his fingers.
Wouldn't even need to snap.
Okay.
That sounds familiar.
Yeah, what?
Renfield, bring me innocent victims. I want a handful of nuns, a busload of cheerleaders.
And I just want a normal life again. But this modern world is a dangerous place.
no.
Thank you. You saved my life. Did I watch you cut a guy's arms off with a decorative serving platter?
It's in the wrist. Let me explain.
My boss gave me this power. In return, I tend to his needs, including care, feeding.
You bring him people to eat? You're like the guy that gets the villain's Postmates.
But if you were to stop focusing on his needs, what would happen?
He won't grow to full power.
Exactly. He won't grow to full power. What? That's so weird. Why would you phrase it like that? But yes. Hi. Are you here for the meeting? Well, come on. No!
Some call me the Dark One, others the Lord of Death. To most, I am Dracula.
Okay, obviously we're dealing with a little bit more than just narcissism here.
Now, let's eat.
All right, there you go. That is Renfield right there. That is one of a couple different vampire movies that will be coming out over the course of this next calendar year.
He was an undead version of John Wick.
Yeah. Yeah. Now, as much as that caught my eye, and I can't wait to see it myself, I was reading that they are updating Bram Stoker's Dracula. The last voyage of the Demeter, I can't pronounce that right. It's going to be the legendary vampire movie that reaches into, I guess, its sinister roots. Says the movie's based on one chapter from Bram Stoker's novel, and it's taken from the captain's log of the Demeter. And the ship brings Dracula to Whitby and finds its crew terrorized. Okay, so from what I take from this is the portion of, I guess he had to feed on that long journey. So this is what happens to all the crew on the boat. So that's going to be interesting of itself, because we've got two uniquely different takes on Dracula. Obviously, Nicolas Cage is doing his best Nicolas Cage, bringing the vampire to life. And then we get a completely different version of Dracula, more of a horror story, more dark, more brooding, but it only takes place in this one focused time period on a boat. So that's going to be different too.
Which is almost even more frightening. On a ship, out in the ocean, you can't go nowhere.
Nope.
Stuck on a ship with Dracula. That would. I want my money back for that cruise.
Well, imagine being the crew. You don't know what's on board. Hey, what happened to Johnny? He went down below deck. I haven't seen him for 2 days. Why don't you go on down and check on him? No, you go on down.
Nope. No, thank you. I'm gonna untie this lifeboat over here.
I see what I would do. I'm gonna stay right by the wheel, and as soon as he comes, I'm like, look, I'm gonna break this wheel off and throw it into the ocean, and we'll both be adrift. So you got options.
Nah, he won't care. He won't die.
That's true. We're screwed.
I mean, unless you're going to go adrift in Alaska where it's sunny for 6 months or some shit like that.
Wouldn't that be nice? But no, you're right. Take the raft, throw it over, jump in. It's going to be between me and the sharks, but start paddling.
Yeah, I like vampire movies to a certain extent, depending on who and what they are. Like the Twilight crap, I watched it because, this is why I've been married for 27 years, going back to the first subject. When you sit and listen, watch those movies with your wife, although the books were fantastic. I did read all the books. The books are wonderful. But I digress.
I've not watched those movies, but I've watched my fair share of vampire movies, and as different as most of them are, there are a few dogs, of course, but
I mean,
There are a few
technically,
standouts.
they're not really cool vampires. You know, the sun doesn't hurt them; they just shine like diamonds in the
Oh, oh
sunshine.
my. I would have to say the two best versions of vampire movies and or TV shows. Uh, I've got one of each. I really liked John Carpenter's Vampires. I think that came out in the late 80s, maybe the early 90s. It had James Woods in it.
He
When
was
you get a chance, check that
the
out.
hunter killer, right?
Yes, he was.
And didn't it have Alec Baldwin's brother in it?
Yes, it did. I don't know
That
if it was
was a good
Billy
one.
or Steven, but it was a Baldwin brother.
That was a good one. I was
Yeah.
trying, and Sensei Kreese was the vampire, right, from Karate Kid. Not Kreese, but the
No,
other one,
no,
the dude with
the
the
one
long
with
hair.
that guy.
Yeah. He yeah, that was a really good one.
Yeah, that was a good one. And TV wise, you probably will disagree with this, but I am a huge fan of Angel. I couldn't stand Buffy the Vampire Slayer, but I loved Angel. I loved his take on the vampire and the week to week episodes and arcs. It was very interesting.
Never seen it.
I'm about to pull your slightly warped card. I'm gonna have to make this happen.
Never seen Angel.
It ran for
'cause
5 seasons.
It seemed kind of girly, like Buffalo.
But see,
Buffy
that's the
Vampire.
thing.
So
It wasn't like
I
Buffy.
didn't.
They purposely came out the gate to make it more adult, more gritty, that kind of thing.
I guess maybe just the way it looked on the like the commercial. I was like, yeah, hate it. Move on.
Yeah, what happened was because I almost didn't want to watch it because it premiered on the WB, and the WB is known for these teeny dramas. But I said, yeah, I'll watch the first episode. We'll see what it's like. And I was hooked ever since then.
I might give it a shot. I didn't mind the True Blood series on HBO. It was okay.
That was another good one, but it did kind of go off the rails in the final season and a half.
So did the books, brother. The books got just as dumb. But if they would have, well, I let me rewind. The show did go off the rails in the last couple seasons, but if they would have stuck more to the book line, it'd have been better. But I mean, it was okay. I think one of my I love the Underworld movies.
Forgot about those. Those are pretty good.
Those are really
now good. The first couple were better than the last couple, but
oh yeah,
as
but
you continue to gain movies, you're going to lose something.
My all-time favorite vampire flick of all time, the way a vampire is supposed to be, 30 Days of Night. That is my favorite all-time.
God, I forgot about that movie.
That is the way a vampire is supposed to be, period.
Okay.
All predator, right. No lover.
You're right. That's a good movie. That was what, Josh Hartnett and I forget who else was in there. But yeah, that's also a very good movie. Hey, all of y'all, because I want to flaunt that new email address that we got again. Leave us a comment at theslightlywarpedpodcast@yahoo.com. Let us know what your favorite vampire TV show or movie is. We want to hear from you. Now, Show, before we close it out, you been keeping up with the XFL?
Man, I've been watching at it. Not really watching. I mean, not like our boy Kaz has been.
Yeah, shout out to you, Kaz, because you've been keeping up on it. He texted us the other day about what was going on there. Me personally, I have not been keeping up on it. As a matter of fact, I was watching the UFC fights the other night. So, and
I watch at it. I think maybe I've watched a total of 6.5 quarters between all the games that have played. Maybe I kind of try to watch the St. Louis one, but it really is a the rules are neat. They're kind of cool, but the gameplay You know,
Leaves a little something to be desired.
It's semi-pro. You know, I mean, but you got ex NFL players in there. You know, like Josh Gordon plays for the Seattle team. You know, he's balling, but he should. He's a professional player playing amongst people that couldn't make the league. You know. But I mean, it's I guess if you need to have a little football fix, it's for it. I'll probably watch, you know, the championship game when it hits, and I'll give it as much time as I did the USFL.
Now, I am going to attempt to watch a game this weekend. Is there a particular team that I should be looking at?
I like the St. Louis team. Everything that I've seen, they're pretty good. I think they've 2-2 now, maybe.
I'm showing
maybe
2-1.
Lost
2-1. Yeah,
now
I'm showing
okay,
DC is 3-0 and Houston is 3-0.
Yeah, Houston is really good. The Roughnecks are pretty good. DC, I can't stand their colors. I mean, they're just red and white. I mean, you'd think I'm a Chiefs fan, I would like it, but no, their color scheme, the way they got it together, yeah, it hurts my eyeballs. But the St. Louis team is fun to watch just because of the coaching, and you know, I believe that's the team that's got it's got Jonathan Hayes, ex Kansas City Chiefs tight end, as one of their coaches. So it's kind of nice to connect those dots. And I think the quarterback is AJ McCarron, you know, who was decent at Alabama. I think he played for. So, I mean, yeah, they're fun to watch. I think they've come back in their first 2 games at the last seconds of it. But yeah, I'll probably check that one out.
Yeah, I might do that, Dan. I might do that. You know, it's getting kind of rough now on Sundays because, you know, my boy Magnum is back because I'm a big Magnum PI fan. But, you know, football should be over by the time that comes on. I have been watching season 3 of The Mandalorian. If you haven't, I'd say, you know, check that out. The Mandalorian is back in
I'll
gear.
probably wait till there's 3 or 4 episodes in so I can kind of binge watch a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's 2 other shows.
I heard Grand Admiral Thrawn is going to make an appearance in this season.
Now that I heard is a rumor, so I'm not going to speculate on it until I see for sure. Now, it's possible because that would help it tie into the Ahsoka series, which is coming later on this year. But
I seen the picture of the dude playing him. I was like, ooh, that's nice.
Okay. Well, this could be interesting then.
Yeah, we'll see.
Now, if you have time for comedies, there's a new comedy called Animal Control. And
I've seen the previews.
Yeah, it's a funny show. You know, you can kill 30 minutes and get a few laughs in if you got time. But
do you have Showtime?
I do not.
You have Hulu?
I do.
Okay, I think Showtime, you can get this show off there, like pay for a subscription or extra add-on or some crap to it.
Mm-hmm.
Your Honor, that show, Your Honor is what it's called.
Really? I haven't heard of it.
Yeah, I strongly recommend it. It's in the middle of the 2nd season. Each episode, they call it by chapter. So episode 1 was chapter 1, you know, and I think they're on chapter 17 right now. It is a phenomenal show. It'll keep you at the edge of your seat the entire time. If you get a chance to check it out, check it out.
Your Honor. Okay. I'm going to look forward to that. Another one that I would highly recommend, it comes on ABC, but you can also stream it on Hulu. That's where I ran into it at. The Company You Keep. It is two people fall in love, but they don't share what they do. She works for the CIA.
And he's a bad guy, right? Yes, yeah. I've seen that one too. I've seen that one. I've seen the previous to it.
It has very slick storytelling. If you've ever watched like Leverage or shows like that, where the underlying episode and the overlying arc of the whole series all intertwine, it's really nice because the way he steals from people, he kind of gets even with the other bad guys at the same time while he's trying to, you know, pay off his debt and keep his secret from his girlfriend. And she doesn't tell him what she does. She just says she's an analyst. But, you know, I'm not going to give too much of it away because there's an underlying family plot with her family. But, you know, for 45 minutes per episode, that it keeps you focused on it, and I like where the story started and where it's going, and they don't waste any time within that 45-minute period.
I'll check it out.
All right, you got anything else before we get out of here?
Nope. I kind of want to do this at the end of but my joke of the day, I just want to throw a joke of the week out there. So,
Do it.
here you go.
Do it.
So my man, what do you get when you cross goat DNA and human DNA? What do you get when you cross goat DNA and human DNA?
Oh, I don't even know where I'm going with this. Tell me, because I don't know.
Kicked out of the zoo.
Y'all know what? We may institute a new segment here. Big Show's joke of the day to end every episode.
There you go. God bless y'all. Love each other. Tell the ones you love. Love them every day. Hug on them, squeeze on them. Tomorrow's not promised.
Absolutely. Y'all stay positive, stay blessed. We'll see you next week.